What you're saying here is there's always this big disconnect in general in the industry between marketing and sales, right? And even what marketing is saying and what sales is saying, right? So a big takeaway from here is that marketing should be talking a lot more about that first conversation they're trying to broker with the company and what that conversation really is, right?
Yeah.
Because what you just described isn't the typical what a B2B buyer would think is a sales conversation where I'm going to be sold to. What you just described is really a consulting session with the company.
Yeah. It looks more like a consulting session.
Yep.
I agree. Yeah.
And
That's
marketing's
absolutely right.
typically not communicating that, right? We're trying to coordinate that first conversation. The expectation is, oh, a conversation I'm going to be sold in, and let me hear the pitch.
Yeah.
You just described
Yeah.
as not
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
pitch. That's not a pitch session, right?
No, no. It's very tailored to what people are trying to build or what they're trying to achieve.
So, what's your recommendation for then the CMOs who are listening in here, or the CEOs that are like, hey, dang, this is a pretty good idea, right? What's your recommendation to them on how they're working in this new world, right? Where it's less about pitching, it's more about consulting, it's more about innovating on value over time.
I think that you really have to advocate to best practices, like how to maximize the output that someone can get from the solution. Because it also has to do with what we discussed about the competition, right? Things are popping all the time. New competitors are saying stuff. And if you did not teach the client or help him to get to the best value that he can, when he will compare you also to the competition, you will also be in trouble. So I think for CMOs and CEOs, I'd say get more client feedback on usability. I think that's the real thing. Going back to what you said about everyone has AI now in their tool. Again, go to all the studies. Companies bought, I don't know, 1,000 Copilot licenses and only 4 developers used it or something. I don't know. You see that all the time. So the adoption is not there, right?
Yeah.
I have an interesting anecdote, and it goes to this thing with the adoption. In one of my roles, I participated in a deal was sold on the management level. This was like 3 years software deal, like massive, couple $1 million deal. And they instructed all the branches to use that software. And after 9 months, it didn't work. Like people just pushed back on it. Like they did not get it. They did not want to adopt it. And eventually nothing good happened out of it. And the client already made a decision. They paid for the software. They did a 3 years contract. They did everything. They did the training. But the failure was in the adoption layer, like to get people to actually start using it. And when you are in this thing with AI, okay, you added an AI feature. So what do I do with it? You see, when ChatGPT first came out, there were a lot of people saying, okay, try this prompt, right? Remember that first period of time, then like people came out with a lot of information, all the try this, try that. You have to be there and be able to do that. Maybe a new function for the marketing team would be someone to do this type of prompt engineering and education and posting bites of, wow, this is what you can do with your tool. Otherwise, people won't get it. They might not get exactly how to get value from this extra AI feature you just added. And then it will be there just because it's a buzzword, but it won't help you shine and go above the noise.
I got to tell you, it's interesting. You're talking about marketing and prompt engineering. Nobody's ever talked about marketing prompt engineering. I mean, right before the holidays, I interviewed the CMO of Intel on the podcast.
Wow.
And one of the things that he had just done is he had outsourced a majority of his marketing department to Accenture. So on the marketing team, he can recreate the mix for developers and prompt engineers as an important part of that mix, right? Because that's a part of success these days, right? We need to
Yeah.
rethink how we go to market, how we develop our teams, what expertise that we have. And he said, I don't want to have the leadership skills to oversee prompt engineers and developers, but I need it on my team.
Wow. Amazing. That's a great move, by the way. I mean, really. And it shows you the evolution because people were just saying that AI is going to take jobs away and so on. But what you just said is that AI just created a whole lot of new jobs for Intel marketing team.